There's always a lot of stuff on this app about, looking for signs of manipulation and, oh, here's how to tell if so-and-so is manipulating you. The thing you guys aren't realizing is you're not really going to know like that. Now, are there signs of manipulation? Yes, technically, but you only see those if someone's bad at it, like really bad at it, because the whole point of manipulation is to make it seem like you're not manipulating somebody. Like if I tell you, oh my gosh, you mean so much to me, I would never do anything to hurt you. That's me love bombing you, but that's also something I would say to someone that I'm not love bombing. Like, are you really going to say that that phrase is a red flag now, since I said I use it occasionally when I am love bombing? Because I feel like that way you'll definitely miss out on some genuine people. And I know a lot of you want to say, oh, but love bombing is so like extreme, like it's always so much so soon. And I would say, that's true sometimes. Because what if I just waited until a time when love bombing seemed more like the appropriate way to act? I always say one of the most important things about manipulation, the art of manipulation, is timing, knowing when to pick your spots, knowing when to execute. And you guys thinking that you know these signs literally makes manipulation so much easier, because now I can literally just do the opposite of what those signs are to get what I want. Ergo, I'm still manipulating you. That's why when I make a video and people are in the comments like, oh, you're giving away my tricks, you're giving away my tricks. No, I'm not, because you can literally just counter, do the exact opposite. Like now it's really popular. People are trying to stop people who are gaslighting. So now you can literally do the opposite of gaslighting, which I think is still like a form of gaslighting. Like it's like, oh my gosh, it's all my fault. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done this. Like just shitting on yourself, basically. Is that too obvious too? You can literally just do neither / both. You can be like, look, I'm not blaming you, but when this happened, it made me feel like this. Like it's really that simple. Like, bro, if you know how people work, manipulation is not hard at all. It's literally like, it's like drinking water. So like people be like, oh, that's too much effort, blah, blah, blah. No, it's literally the easiest thing in the world. The only time manipulation will ever give you problems is if you're bad at it. And it's very not hard to be not bad at it. You know what I'm saying? Even if someone who I was manipulating watches this video, I can literally just start obviously love bombing, obviously gaslighting, obviously personality mirroring. It would become even easier for me, because then I would be like, you really think if I was manipulating you, it would be this obvious? You really think I wouldn't be hiding it from you? And then if they heard that part I just said, I could go back to being subtle again. It's literally a paradox, like genuinely. And I know you're probably like, damn, this is a bleak ass video. Hell yeah, life is bleak as hell. Like you cannot trust anybody out here. And that's it's kind of beautiful if you think about it. Like, you go through life not knowing like what these other people are up to, and you can still choose to trust some of them anyways. And that's what makes the beauty of being trusted so wonderful, and that's what makes the beauty of trusting so beautiful. So
hi guys, it's okay. Welcome back to another episode of Complete Effery. So I'm sure some of you guys remember this guy. He's the how to manipulate healed women person. And well, you guys already know that he had a whole list of manipulation tactics. I decided to compile them and share them, but there's so many and it's so long, so I've picked up like the best ones, if I can even say that. I will be making a second video if you're interested, but let me know. It has also come to my attention that my intros are very long and you guys don't like it, so I'm just gonna get into it, and I won't even have commentary. Let me know if this works better for you, or if you like it when I give my little 2 cents. But I will stay and say please subscribe and like, because it helps me a lot. Oh, and a quick disclaimer, this video is for education purposes and information purposes. Please do not go and troll this guy. I'm sure he already has a lot going on. I really don't try to send a hateful message, so I would appreciate it if you left him alone. But it's up to you. You're grown. Let's get into it.
Manipulation tactics used on healed individual. Now this is method 3, the scared kitten method. Now this method is very high risk, high reward, so make sure you pay attention to exactly what I'm saying, and make sure you use this for good and not bad. Step 1, weaponize your mental illness. And I don't mean early on. I mean wait until they know you a bit and then open up to them. Do not use your mental illness on them, because that's the scared lion method, and that is much less ethical than this method. Basically just tell them, yo, I got this and it makes me struggle with this, and I struggle to cope with it. Just like genuinely opening up, just the same way you would open up to a friend, right? But also make it clear to them that you're making steps to improve yourself in this area. Tell them you're in therapy, tell them you're on medication. Even if you aren't, what, they can ask for a picture? Like, now I know what you're thinking, what if they leave though because I'm mentally ill? They won't do that. Everyone's mentally ill. If you're not mentally ill, you're not human at this point. You know what I'm saying? But also don't overdo it, because then that can get scary. But what this does is it already establishes that you're on the struggle bus a little bit, which leads me to step 2, utilize your trauma. Now if you don't have any trauma, I suggest you find some. It is not that hard to gain access to. However, just hint at this trauma over time, not anything overt. Just be like, yeah, this
This kind of happened to me, but do it from a detached sense to the point where it's not any overly emotional situation. You don't care about it that much. However, this thing did happen, and it is sad, 100% to them, okay? And they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, this poor person, they've been through a lot. But again, you're not showing what this trauma has done for you, so you're getting all of the pity, but none of the fear. Now, this is perfect for someone who has a bad reputation. Honestly, it kind of helps a little bit. Now, not anything too crazy. Like, if you did some absurd stuff to people, yeah, you're kind of a lost cause at that point. But if they're like, oh, this person ghosted me, this person never really talked to me like that, they never took me seriously, it's not going to be a huge problem, because if that gets back to that person, they'll be like, huh? Or are we talking about the same person right now? Like, now at some point they're probably going to confront you with this information. You just got to fess up and say something like, look, I just really want connections with people, and I used to try to force that a lot, and it never ended well for either party. But that was just immaturity on my part, and I do regret it. That's kind of just why I keep to myself mostly nowadays. Now, this will make a healed person cream their jeans, because not only are you taking accountability for your actions, but you're also looking at it like, it is what it is. Something I get a lot is, oh my gosh, you're such a sweet guy. Why do you let people view you like this? I'm just like, I don't know. And I make sure I say it with pain in my eyes. This is when you imply heavy interest but never openly state it, because in their mind they're gonna be like, okay, I think I'm safe, but like, am I really?
Love bomb with attention, not affection.
Now, this troubled young lady taught me this last part. She knows who she is. It's very important that you don't try to defend yourself too hard. Don't go around like, oh my gosh, everyone's wrong. I'm a really good person, I promise. That's just you barking. That's the scared puppy method, okay? And nobody likes that. That annoys people. Elephant in the room. Why is it called the scared kitten method? Think about a scared cat and what it does. When people come to pet it, it will probably run away. People just pick it up, it'll probably scratch and run away. People aren't gonna like that cat very much, right? Now imagine that cat approaches you, lets you pet them, cuddles with you, things like that. You're probably gonna like that cat a lot, right? And when people try to shit talk that cat, you're gonna be like, you know what? You guys don't know this cat the way I do. It's a perfectly good cat, it's just a scared kitten. Okay, so here's how you become a wolf in sheep's clothing. The thing is, you can't just wake up and be a sheep. You gotta put the clothing on first. Ever heard dress for the job you want, not the job you have? It's exactly this. This is the first step of your healing journey, your journey to become a better person. You're in step one, denial. Except you're not denying for yourself, you're denying on the behalf of that other person for their benefit. Anyways, here's how to hide these red flags and mislead them. The first red flag was shit talking all your exes. Here's the solution. Don't talk about your exes. Bring them up as little as possible. Nothing good can come from talking about your exes. However, if you have to, please don't shit talk them. However, that can also be suspicious. That's why I suggest everyone gets in one preliminary toxic relationship. What do I mean by this? I mean, I have personally put myself in some of the most dangerous dating situations known to man. Simply so now, years later, when people ask me about my ex, I can be like, honestly, I try not to think about it too much, not because there's still feelings there, but it was just a very unhealthy relationship for me, and I try to forget about it as much as possible. See, this does not assign blame to any party. They just know it's a bad relationship. However, when I slowly open up about it over time, I can tell them how crazy my ex was because I've gained their trust. They're gonna look at me like, oh, you poor thing, and I'm like, you're damn right. Red flag number 2 was emotional immaturity. Now, here's the thing. Faking emotional maturity is not hard at all. All you have to do is not have any knee-jerk reactions. Do not react too strongly to anything, and also apologize sometimes when you don't feel like you need to. Not all the time, don't do it too much, but just sometimes, even if you know it's not your fault. Also, over communicate. If you ever think to yourself, oh my gosh, this is doing too much, there's no reason I should have to do this, you probably should do it. Red flag number 3 was jokingly putting them down, and yeah, honestly, just don't do that. Don't put people down. You really don't have to. If you really feel the need to put them down, just don't say anything. Like, let your silence do the talking. The 4th red flag was having no hobbies, which I feel like is really simple. You could just develop a hobby, which would probably be good for you, but if you have to, just lie to them, but don't make it a hobby that's easy to verify. Because I told someone I crocheted one time, it was a bad idea. Which leads me to my point of, if you make up a hobby, make sure it's a hobby that they don't know anything about. See, if you're a woman seeking a man, you could probably get away with that crochet. However, if you're a man seeking a woman, I don't know what guys do, to be honest. Because you don't want to say hunting, because that's just like, it's gross to a lot of people. Maybe like rock, push, maybe you sculpt it. I don't know. You'll figure it out. Now, if you're seeking the same gender or non-binary, I feel like this will be harder for you in general, but I feel like you can do it. I believe in you, I promise. And the 5th red flag was the ever elusive love bombing, my personal favorite, but there's always a solution, guys. Love sniping. Now, if you're a certified love bomber and you know this person is not going to be receptive to love bombing, what you need to do is you need to hit them with precise bursts of love. You need to hit them with just normal conversation, and then boom, the best compliment they've ever heard in their life. Rinse, repeat, and then next thing you know, you're gonna work your way up to just some natural love bombing, and they're gonna love it. And that is how you howl at the moon while staying to the being faithful.
Okay, 2 people can play at that game. How to avoid manipulation tactics. Part 1.
Okay, so here's how you manipulate someone who's avoiding manipulation tactics. The key part is to understand that each of these tactics aren't going to work on every individual. You need to find out who works best with the masquerade method, the being fixable method, the scared kitten method, and secret method number 4. It's very key to know where these people's flaws lie, because as humans, we all naturally do have flaws. You have to look for the little signs. You got to dip your toe in before you dive in, okay? If it's clear that they want someone who's on their shit, boom, masquerade method. If they talk down to you but still seem very interested in you, boom, fixable method. If they keep hitting you with, oh my gosh, if they keep talking to you like that, boom, scared kitten method. If they seem just so traumatized, like they don't know which way is up, they don't know what to do anymore, boom, secret method number 4. Also, just because a particular tactic worked out for you consistently in the past, don't put too much faith in it. This doesn't mean it's going to work on every person. Like, I know some people who live by the push-pull method. Well, sometimes you're going to have to get in here with the push-push method. Come in hot, stay in hot, okay? Like love on that hoe. And that hoe will know that and they'll appreciate that. Now, sometimes you are going to have to pull back, and that's going to be really sad, but you got to do what's needed. And sometimes you're going to have to do the pull-pull method. You're all the way back here. You don't f with that hoe for real. You don't f with that hoe. And that hoe knows that, but that makes the hoe want you more. But, it's all about the hoe themselves. Also, you have to take things from these people's personalities and understand who they are and what tactics are going to work in accordance with that. Like me, I'm very strong-willed. Like, if I feel like someone's trying to come in and take my independence, I will freak out. I will throw a hissy fit. So gaslighting is not very successful on me most of the time, but I'll tell you what is successful. Love bombing. You know why? Because I'm confident. I eat it up every time. It works every time. Sometimes I know it's happening, and I can't even stop it just because it just makes me feel so good. It has 100% success rate against me. So if any of you hoes want to come in my DMs and love bomb me, go ahead, Also, for these people avoiding manipulation tactics, you have so many lines for them. I value myself way too much to just sit here wasting my own time. Like, I don't know how people even do that. What are the 3 R's? Repurpose, repackage, and regurgitate. They all have these phrases and keywords that they use, and you have to use it against them. I mean, for them, but against them. But also make them your own, put your own little pizzazz on it, your little spice, little personality. Okay, make it who you are, inside of your heart. Say things like, I'm too old to be playing games. I'm looking for my person for real. My phone glitched and deleted like 1/4 of the video, so I'd do this last little bit by the fly, but this is a perfect time for me to remind you, if you're a hater and you're still here, hoe is a gender neutral term. Just reminding you. We should all know this, but I'm just reminding you, so don't come complaining to me. How to manipulate a healed individual, aka unhealing them. Now, there are 3 main methods you can use to do this, but the method I'm here to talk to you about today is the masquerading as a healed person method. Now, this method is very reliable if you're good at it. Reason being is that these people think they're above being manipulated. They think they can sense manipulation from a mile away and it just won't ever happen to them because they won't let it. They're very conceited in that way. They're very conceited in general, but the difference between their conceit and our conceit is they do not think that they're conceited. So what that means for us is we should not try to gaslight them early on, because that will not have a high success rate. But what we can do is some precise love bombing, personality mirroring, etc. Now, what do I mean by precise love bombing? I mean, do not overdo it, because these people think they know everything. So if they get even a hint that they think that you're love bombing them, they will dip. They will be on the way. So don't say things like, oh my gosh, you're my favorite person right now. Say things like, yo, my feelings are kind of accelerating a bit faster than I expected them to, but I really don't want to rush things between us. And I don't know how things are on your end, but I just thought I'd communicate this with you. So I don't know if you want to take a step back, yada, yada, yada. I like to call this anti-love bombing, and that's when you don't make the focal point of your compliment the compliment itself. What's the focal point is the communication, the emotional maturity, the dynamic between you two in general, and also you're giving them a way out. However, them in their mind, the compliment is so strong, it will still sit with them and they will still be completely flattered by it. Now, they will respond to this in one of 3 ways. It's either going to be, oh my gosh, the feeling's mutual, or it's going to be, I really don't think that's a problem at all, blah, blah, blah. Or much, much less likely, it's going to be, you know what, I think you're right, we should take a step back. However, if this happens to you, do not fear. You're still on the right road. It's just a little bit slower than the other 2 ways would be. What people don't understand about quality manipulation is that it's not always just feeding people delusions. A big part of it is feeding into the delusions people already have, so eventually you can flip them around. Step 2, personality mirroring. Again, be careful. Do not be too obvious. Disagree with them about little things that don't really matter, but when you can tell they're passionate about something, agree with them and always take it a step further to give them the impression that it's an original thought that you're having. For instance, if they're talking about any group of people who have a thought process that they don't like, what you need to do is you need to call those people insecure. Because people who are healed love calling people insecure because it implies that since they don't think like those people, that they must be secure, right? They will eat it up and they will love that you said that. Step 3, exploit their insecurities. And not in the way that you may think. What you need to do is you need to find their insecurities and convince them that those insecurities are some of your favorite things about them. Be like, what? You don't like that about yourself? That's crazy. I find that very, very compelling. But again, do not overdo it. When you compliment their insecurities, you become the one giving them an inflated self-image. You become the one making them feel like the way that they subconsciously have been trying to get themselves to feel like this entire time. You will make them feel better than they've ever been because you're taking their delusions, embracing them, and subtly twisting them into your own. And eventually you'll just have them in the palm of your hand. When this individual says they love you, pause before saying you love them too. Reference their future with you in the past tense. What I mean by this is, say I'm talking to a person, we get into a little petty disagreement, nothing serious. I'll be like, yo, a year from now, you're going to say this person I used to talk to was so right. And they're going to be like, what? Used to talk to? What does that mean? Tell this person that you need to make plans with them, but never actually make plans. If plans do get made, give them just a little sliver of time and do not go over that sliver of time. This gives them the impression that you're making time for them, but you have other responsibilities that you value more than them. Make sure you're interested in them is merely heavily implied and not openly stated. Keep referencing how much you hate people and how much it takes for you to really mess with somebody. This will give them the impression that they're special, even though they aren't, even though they are. When you link, give off the vibes that you really don't want to be there. But after the link is done, text them and be like, yo, I really enjoyed spending time with you. How to use a healed individual's insecurities to your advantage. Now, if you're new here, my name is Bryce. I'm a renowned internet scumbag. I help people in their scumbag journeys. And I also help people avoid scumbags, but the first one's much more fun. So let's get right into it. Now, broadly, there are 4 ways that you can do this. The first 2 you're probably more familiar with and they kind of work, but the last 2 are the most effective ones. I'm going to give you all 4 in order from least effective to most effective. At number 4, we have insult them. Now, you can do this as a joke or you can do it for real. I don't think I really have to explain too much about this, but I'll explain much later why this isn't really the one you want to use. Number 3 is backhanded actions. Now, I feel like these are more the things you guys would expect me to tell you to do, like, oh, they're insecure about you leaving them, hit them with a push-pull. Oh, they're insecure about their weight. You know, you take them on a picnic and you provide healthy alternatives to the food that they know and love. And you take a bite of one of the healthy alternatives and you're like, this is so much better than the regular kind. You know, kind of giving them the impression that you think they're too dumb for them to understand what you're doing, but really they think you're too dumb for you to understand that they understand what you're doing. Or if they're insecure about you being friends with a certain person, be like, oh no, you can hang out with us together. But then when all 3 of you hang out, you're like super close to the person that they're insecure about you being friends with. You know, do those things work? Yeah, but would I advise them? No, because I just simply don't think they're the most effective. Now, why would you not want to do those 2 methods other than the fact that it's pretty elementary? Like, we all have known and done those things or ran into someone who's done those things. And you know, it's a bit mean-spirited, but why else wouldn't you want to do that? The fact is, people are always like, oh, use their insecurities against them. But the thing is, you're not using their insecurities against them. They're using their insecurities against themselves, which leads me to the next one. Number 2, leave them alone, because you understand they're already beating themselves up about it. The job is finished. You really don't have to do anymore. And anything you say, like insults or any backhanded actions, you're validating their thoughts. And why would you want to validate their thoughts? Like, wouldn't you want them to question themselves? Because you understand giving them any form of validation, it makes them less vulnerable. So it simply doesn't make any sense for you to outwardly try to use these insecurities. Number 1, and by far the best method, make them not feel insecure. Now I can already hear it. Oh, what is he talking about? He's gone soft. Well, riddle me this, young dirtbag in training. If you're trying to manipulate somebody into staying with you or never wanting to leave you, why would you want them to feel worse while you're around? I'll wait. Exactly. You want them to feel worse when you're not around. When I tell story times, people are like, oh, how does he keep getting away with this? You know why I can spin the block so much? Do you know why I can mess up and be forgiven so easily? Do you know why I can just say whatever I want sometimes and it just ends up working out for me? Because I make my love interests feel so good about themselves that when I'm not around, they're like, damn, this sucks. Granted, can you succeed by making someone feel worse? Absolutely you can. People do it every day. But the thing is, so much people do it that when you do the opposite, it is so much more effective. A lot of people nowadays just want someone to be nice to them. And what is manipulation if not giving someone what they at least think that they want? Especially when it's so easy, why would you not? Manipulation tactics used on a healed individual. Now this is method 6 and 2nd of the presidential trilogy, the Joe Biden method, aka playing dumb. Now you can use this whether you just want someone to let their guard down or if people are too intimidated by your actual level of intellect. Now, why is this called the Joe Biden method? Because Joe Biden encapsulates an extreme example of the 2 ways you want to come across as while you're doing this. And those ways are confused and docile. Now, let's talk about confusion for a second, because one of my favorite things is how much sticky situations you can get out of just by pretending to be completely shocked by the fact that you're in that sticky situation and you have no idea why they feel the way they're feeling or why they're saying these things to you. If you're asking more questions than they are, then who's really on trial? My personal favorites are, what do you mean? Can you elaborate? When did I say that? When did you say that? Can you explain the small, unimportant detail of this big paragraph that you sent me so I can ignore the rest of it? If you've been playing dumb well enough up to this point, they're not even going to get that mad at you because they'll genuinely think that you do not know any better. Okay, one of my personal favorite phrases of all time to use when I get caught doing something I wasn't supposed to do, I thought you knew already. This is why you never let them define the relationship, because say they think you're not talking to anybody else and they find out you are and they confront you, you can be like, oh my gosh, I thought you already knew. I'm so sorry. I should not have assumed you knew. So you change the issue from you being sleazy to communication just like that. Confusion also tires them out because if you keep hitting them with what do you mean? Eventually they'll just go into submission because they don't even want to argue anymore because it's so exhausting for them to keep having to explain themselves over and over again. Now let's talk about being docile for a second, because you may be playing dumb, but you do not want them to think you're stupid. You don't want them to think if they handed you a paragraph, you wouldn't be able to read it. Now, how can you become docile and dumb without looking stupid? The answer is kindness, because we all know that whether we like it or not, subconsciously, we see kindness as a weakness. Now, what are the 2 dumbest things you can do? A, not know your weaknesses, or 2, flaunt those weaknesses. So what do we do to exploit that? Say it with me, everybody. We love bomb. Now here's when it gets a bit tricky. Now there are 2 main kinds of love bombing: proactive love bombing and reactive love bombing. What you're going to want to do is love bomb reactively. Now proactive love bombing is love bombing that you initiate that affection. You set out to do it. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we met, yada, yada, yada. You maybe give them a little 3-paragraph stanza in the middle of the night so they wake up to that and they feel good about themselves. Reactionary love bombing is you wait for them to say something nice to you and you hit them with like a, oh my gosh, thank you so much, you're so sweet, hella heart emojis, oh my gosh, I really appreciate you, you give me butterflies, yada, yada, yada. The reason you don't want to be proactive is because you don't want these people to think that you're that confident. You want them to think that you're just at least a little afraid of being hurt, because that's how they feel. Otherwise, they wouldn't be these healed individuals. You know what I'm saying? And when you reactionary love bomb, it looks like you full-heartedly believe everything they have to say. They'll think that they have you exactly where they want you. I've been there before, actually. But really, you're in the driver's seat. All right, y'all, this is me taking accountability, me making a little bit of a disclaimer, because I always forget that people can't read my mind for some reason. I do not condone the harming of anybody in any way. I feel like everyone should love each other. We should be one happy world. I want everyone to be happy for like whatever reason. People should be happy. People should be enjoying themselves. People should be safe, secure, etc. As for my goal, I want you guys to know that I'm not that bad of a guy. Okay, I'm joking. No, seriously, I'm not that bad of a guy. My goal with these tactics when I use them is simply to increase someone's interest level in me higher than it already is. That's all I'm looking to do. That's all I'll ever be looking to do, and I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. Am I aware that some people might use these tactics to do devious things? Absolutely. However, do I hold myself accountable for the actions of other sentient human beings? No, not at all, and I never will. I am simply relaying information / product. You have computer programming courses, psychology courses, over-the-counter medicine. All of those things can be used to do less than favorable activities. However, you would not blame those companies, those courses, for the actions that other people choose to take. I am simply doing this for the people who are interested in someone and want that person to be more interested in them. It's literally the same thing as those videos of, oh, here's how to make them obsess over you. Oh, here's how to make them break no contact. Oh, here's how to make them do XYZ. It's literally the same thing, except I'm using the word manipulation because that's what it is. And I will say it once more, all of these tactics are gender neutral. I will never make a video targeting a specific gender because I genuinely believe that us as human beings, no matter what orientation, expression, gender, identity, whatever you want to say, are that different. We are all human beings and we are essentially the same. We're all unique, but we're also essentially the same. And these tactics have been used against people of all sorts of creeds, whether that be platonic or romantic. I figured I'd make this disclaimer because this manipulation series will continue. I imagine you clapping here. You can go ahead and start clapping. Anyways, I will not be humoring criticism from people watching a video. Nobody's forcing them to watch and choosing to be angry about it. So your feelings are whatever they are. You can feel however you want about it, but I'm telling you what it is and what it isn't. So, deal with that, honestly. And in case it's really not clear, I condemn harm of any sort. So if you're using this shit to harm people, I condemn you. But do your thing, though. I can't control you. But at the same time, just remember, I don't approve of it. I simply don't approve, but I don't approve from afar. Okay? I can't physically stop you, but at the same time, just know that I don't approve. I don't know what... Oh my gosh. And another reminder, if you're in my comments saying, oh, this would never work on me, it will work the easiest on you. Just letting you know. That's how I know this shit's working, when people feel the need to prove to me that it wouldn't work. You know what I'm saying?